Hi, I'm Daniel. Today we're exploring 7 powerful foods mentioned in the Bible and why their health benefits still matter in our modern lives. From ancient wisdom to modern science, these foods may surprise you. Let's begin with olive oil, often called liquid gold in biblical times. Rich in healthy fats and antioxidants, it's still one of the most powerful natural foods for heart health today. In the Bible, olives symbolized peace and healing, and modern research supports this. Olive oil may help reduce inflammation and support long-term wellness naturally. Next is honey, described as a symbol of abundance and blessing. But beyond that, honey has natural antibacterial properties and may support immunity. Even today, raw honey is used in natural healing for soothing sore throats and boosting energy, just as people may have experienced thousands of years ago. Talk about dates, one of the most frequently mentioned fruits in the Bible. Packed with natural sugars, fiber, and minerals, they provide quick and lasting times. Dates were a snack. In ancient times, dates were a staple food during travel and fasting. Today, they're still valued as a natural, nutrient-dense snack. Another powerful biblical food is figs. Rich in fiber and known to support digestion and gut health naturally. Figs were even used in ancient healing practices. Today, they remain a smart choice for those looking to improve digestive health. So what makes these foods so powerful? It's the combination of natural nutrients and timeless wisdom, something modern science is only beginning to fully understand. Now let's explore lentils, one of the oldest foods mentioned in Scripture. These tiny legumes are packed with plant protein, fiber, and nutrients that support long-lasting energy. In biblical times, lentils were considered valuable because they were filling, affordable, and nourishing. Today, they're still recommended for heart health and balanced nutrition. Bread is another essential biblical food, but ancient bread looked very different from many processed breads today. It was simpler, more natural, and deeply connected to daily life. Whole grain bread can provide fiber, steady energy, and important nutrients. It's a reminder that simple foods often have lasting value. Many biblical foods weren't just eaten for survival, they were part of community, tradition, and spiritual life. That connection may be just as important as the nutrition itself. Grapes and wine are mentioned throughout the Bible as symbols of joy and abundance. Grapes themselves contain antioxidants that may support heart and brain health. Modern nutrition experts often point to compounds found in grapes that may help protect the body from oxidative stress and aging. One fascinating thing about biblical foods is how closely they resemble what many experts now call a natural Mediterranean-style diet. These foods are typically less processed, rich in nutrients, and deeply connected to nature, qualities many people are trying to rediscover today. And perhaps that's why these ancient foods still matter. They remind us that health isn't always about trends, it's often about returning to timeless, natural foundations. Did you know many biblical diets were naturally rich in fiber and healthy fats long before modern nutrition science existed? That balance may be one reason these foods still stand the test of time. Ancient communities depended heavily on seasonal foods, meaning their meals were often fresher and less processed than many modern diets today. Garlic and herbs were also valued in biblical cultures, not only for flavor, but for their traditional connection to strength and wellness. Today, garlic is widely studied for its potential role in supporting heart health and immune function naturally. Fish also played an important role in biblical life, especially around the Sea of Galilee. It provided protein and healthy fats essential for strength and survival. Modern experts often recommend fish as part of a balanced diet because of nutrients linked to brain and heart health. What's fascinating is that many biblical foods focused on nourishment rather than excess. Meals were often simple, intentional, and shared with others. In today's fast-paced world, that slower and more mindful relationship with food may be something many people are missing. Even water held spiritual and physical importance throughout the Bible. Clean water was essential for life, renewal, and daily survival. These biblical foods weren't marketed as superfoods, but their natural simplicity continues to inspire healthier lifestyles even today. One reason biblical foods remain so respected today is their focus on natural ingredients instead of artificial additives and heavy processing. Many ancient meals centered around plants, grains, fruits, and healthy oils, foods now widely connected to long-term wellness and balanced nutrition. Pomegranates were another treasured biblical fruit. Their vibrant color and rich nutrients made them symbols of abundance and life. Today, pomegranates are studied for antioxidants that may help support heart health and protect the body from cellular stress. Nuts were also common in biblical regions, providing protein, healthy fats, and valuable nutrients during long journeys and harsh seasons. Even today, nuts are often recommended as part of heart-healthy eating patterns because of their healthy fat content and nutritional density. Ancient people may not have understood vitamins or antioxidants, but they understood the importance of foods that sustained strength and endurance. That connection between food and well-being is something modern science continues to rediscover in surprising ways. Perhaps the biggest lesson from biblical foods is this: health often begins with consistency, simplicity, and respect for natural nourishment. Another fascinating part of biblical eating was moderation. Meals were often simple and portioned naturally, without the constant excess common in many modern diets. This slower, more intentional approach to food may have supported not just physical health, but emotional and spiritual well-being too. This is wonderful.
It is. I'm so glad we're all here.
Herbs like mint, cumin, and coriander were frequently used in biblical cultures not only for flavor, but also for preservation and traditional wellness practices. Today, many of these herbs are still appreciated for their natural compounds and their role in healthy cooking around the world. Fasting also appears throughout the Bible not as a trend, but often as a spiritual practice connected to discipline and reflection. Interestingly, modern researchers continue exploring how mindful eating patterns and periods of fasting may affect overall wellness. Many biblical foods were also locally grown and seasonal, meaning they traveled less distance and were often consumed fresher. That connection to the land created a deeper relationship between people, food, and daily life, something many communities still value today. Even the act of sharing meals held meaning in biblical culture. Food brought people together, strengthened relationships, and created moments of gratitude. And maybe that's part of the message these biblical foods still carry today, that nourishment is not only about the body, but also about connection, balance, and purpose. When we look closely at biblical foods, one thing becomes clear: they were deeply connected to nature, simplicity, and daily rhythms of life. Unlike many modern convenience foods, these meals were often prepared by hand, using ingredients people personally understood and trusted. This connection to real food may be one reason many nutrition experts encourage less processed eating patterns today. Barley was another major biblical grain, valued for its affordability, nutrition, and ability to sustain large communities. Today, barley is recognized for its fiber content and its potential role in supporting healthy digestion and balanced blood sugar levels.
Ancient diets also relied heavily on walking, farming, fishing, and physical labor, meaning food worked together with an active lifestyle.
That balance between nourishment and movement is something health experts continue to emphasize in modern wellness discussions. Biblical foods also remind us that health trends often come and go, but natural eating patterns have endured for generations. Even simple ingredients like figs, honey, olive oil, and grains continue appearing in many of the world's healthiest traditional diets. And perhaps that's the lasting power of these biblical foods. They connect ancient wisdom with modern wellness in a way people still understand today. For thousands of years, people relied on food not only for survival, but also as a source of strength, gratitude, and community. That perspective may explain why biblical foods still resonate today in conversations about natural health and balanced living. One overlooked detail about biblical eating is how meals were often slower and more intentional, encouraging mindfulness rather than distraction. Today, many people rush through meals without realizing how important mindful eating can be for overall wellness and digestion. Ancient olive groves, vineyards, and grain fields weren't just sources of food, they represented stability, provision, and hope. Even now, many of the healthiest eating traditions around the world continue to center around similar natural ingredients. Perhaps the greatest lesson from biblical foods is not about one ingredient, but about an entire lifestyle built on balance and simplicity. Modern science continues discovering new nutritional details, but many ancient food principles remain surprisingly relevant today. Foods like olive oil, figs, grapes, lentils, barley, and honey have survived across generations because they continue offering nourishment people trust. And in a world filled with endless health trends, these biblical foods remind us that timeless wisdom still has value. As we look back at these ancient foods,
it becomes clear that nutrition was never separated from everyday life, faith, and community. Biblical meals were often made with patience and simplicity, qualities that many people today are trying to bring back into modern wellness routines. Even something as simple as sharing fresh bread and olive oil carried deep meaning in biblical culture and daily relationships.
Today, researchers continue exploring how natural diets rich in whole foods may support long-term health and overall well-being. Simple choices can make a big difference. Today, researchers continue exploring how natural diets rich in whole foods may support long-term health and overall well-being. Simple choices can make a big difference.
What's remarkable is how many biblical foods remain common in some of the world's healthiest traditional eating patterns. These foods may not promise instant results, but their lasting presence across generations speaks volumes about their value.
Ancient wisdom often focused on consistency over extremes, a lesson many nutrition experts still encourage today. Small, consistent actions lead to lasting health. And while science continues evolving, the importance of real, nourishing foods remains one of the most consistent health principles of all. Perhaps that's why biblical foods continue capturing attention, not because they're trendy, but because they feel timeless and deeply human. Let me show you how we make this, dear.
Okay.
In many ways, these ancient foods remind us that wellness isn't only about living longer, it's also about living with greater balance, gratitude, and purpose. After thousands of years, these biblical foods continue appearing in kitchens, cultures, and wellness conversations all around the world. From olive oil and figs to barley and grapes, these foods have endured because they offer simplicity people still recognize and trust.
In many ways, biblical nutrition was built around balance, natural ingredients, physical movement, shared meals, and moderation.
Modern health discussions often return to these same principles because they continue making sense across generations and cultures. Perhaps the real power of these foods lies not in one single ingredient, but in the lifestyle and values surrounding them.
Simple meals made from natural foods may help create healthier habits that feel sustainable rather than temporary. And maybe that's why ancient wisdom still matters today, because some truths about nourishment never really change.
As modern life becomes faster and more complicated, many people are rediscovering the value of slowing down and returning to simpler foods. We find peace in these moments.
These biblical foods remind us that health is often built through small daily choices repeated consistently over time.
Thank you for joining me on this journey through 7 powerful biblical foods and the timeless lessons they still offer today. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you in the next exploration.